They're contributing to crime, fire runs, and even firefighter injuries. They are vacant, abandoned homes. I'm Lindsey Yates, and I'll tell you about a fire that happened at this home, injuring 4 firefighters. With unusual 80-degree March temperatures, strawberry blossoms are also ahead of schedule. But farmers are worried as the temperatures drop tonight, so could their profits. Parents are extra cautious that what they're feeding their kids is healthy and safe. But the bigger concern may not be what you're feeding them, but what you're feeding them from. These symbols represent crime that is happening in your area. I'll tell you about a new and easy way to receive crime alerts at home and on the go.
Scary.
What scares you the most?
That place is gonna catch on fire and I'll be sleeping and get burned up.
For the past 10 years, this has been the view from Georgia Peterson's front porch. But she isn't the only one who is scared the 2-story abandoned home will catch on fire.
Our city, like a lot, are full of vacant houses. We know that along with the vacant houses come the homeless people, especially during the winter. They'll go in to keep warm.
Just 2 blocks over on Jefferson Street, this house caught fire, injuring Markajon and 4 other firefighters. They are still asking the city to tear down the abandoned home.
We extinguished our building. Other companies took care of the other buildings, and we were on the 2nd floor when it fell through to the 1st. There's a lot of houses we made fires in 10 to 20 years ago and that are still standing, boarded up.
With more than 8,000 abandoned homes in Louisville, it isn't uncommon for Truck 4 to be putting out fires in homes where no one lives.
Maybe 5 or 6 fires a month. Maybe 20% of the houses we make are probably vacant.
The problem becomes that once the owners are foreclosed on, the banks and the courts don't want the property because of the low property value. Most of the time, the owners don't know they still own the home, leaving houses like these in a legal limbo.
It bothers us. We know that there's not a lot the city can do about it, especially with the economy the way it is. They simply can't afford to tear all the buildings down. People can't afford to make their payments. It bothers us, but we understand it's part of our job.
Governor Steve Beshear is currently reviewing House Bill 62 that intends to put more responsibility on banks and clear up ownership issues. Mary McGuire, leader of the Louisville Abandoned Properties Initiative, says that they are trying to get legislation that will make the foreclosure process easier so Metro government can quickly take control of the properties. Reporting for UK Student News Network, I'm Lindsey Yates. To those in Louisville, Kentucky, she is known as the Cookie Lady. Elizabeth Casito started her now well-known business, Casito Cookies, from scratch 20 years ago after baking cookies at home to raise money for her son's birthday present.
So I was just making cookies and I take them to work and share them with my co-worker, and they encourage me, why don't you bring those cookies, and we buy them.
The smell of fresh baked cookies is undeniable on Bardstown Road, where she opened her bakery in 1989 without a savings or a bank loan.
It's a lot of hard work. My husband and I work on this job almost many hours a week, and we get up at 4 a.m.
Casito is a familiar face at Louisville festivals and baseball games, selling cookies from a basket she carries on top of her head, a skill she learned in her homeland of Uganda.
My mother grew bananas and cotton, and we grew sesame. That's how I learned how to carry a basket on my head by helping my mom get things from the garden.
Casito was born in Uganda in the 1950s. She was one of 36 children born to her father, a baker and a businessman. He sent her to America to attend school.
Dreamed about coming to America because I thought it's so wonderful to be here.
After studying in New Mexico, she moved to Louisville in 1978, a city she has grown to love.
Oh, everybody's so friendly and everything's so good.
She keeps her family close by. She has 5 other employees, including her husband and her son. Their day is filled with baking, packaging, and selling cookies.
We average around 2,000 pieces a day. That would be cookies, brownies.
And what she enjoys the most about her success?
Eating them and selling them, to talking to people, everything about my cookie making is fun.
Casito won Louisville's Businesswoman of the Year. While she has been approached by investors, right now she says she is busy enough.
Cookies all the time, 7 days a week.
In a tough economy, finding a job can be difficult, even with a degree. Networking has become one of the most successful ways to find a new job. But what exactly does that term mean?
Networking is just knowing other people, talking with them, and then having a resource to follow up with if you need something.
Manager of First Investors, Frank Patton, says networking has played a huge role in his career path.
I take care of financial planning needs for people. I was an education major ready to teach social studies in high school when I graduated college. But here I am, 10 years later, doing something completely unrelated.
4 out of 5 job seekers find work as a result of a referral from a friend, which can often be through social networking sites like Facebook.
We don't have the connection with people anymore, and by being able to network and see a real person face to face, I think things become more real, and you can relate to that person and really show who you are to that employer. And we hire people, we don't hire an internet ad or some piece of paper.
Networking can be as simple as
like a thank you note or an email, let them know, hey, we talked about this.
It's not always what you know, but who you know.
Absolutely, it's always been that way. It just has been more, it's been more evident now that when you can't just email somebody or text or Twitter or Facebook or whatever technology you may be using, it really is still a people business.
Some tips for networking: go beyond your area of comfort, keep in touch with contacts, make a point to follow up, and volunteer. Hello and welcome to UK Student News Network Update. I'm Lindsey Yates. Our top story: Governor Steve Beshear is bringing back legislation to expand gambling, and he is calling on you to make the change. The proposed bill would allow racetracks to have casinos. Because the proposed bill is a constitutional amendment, Kentucky voters must approve it. Beshear says revenue will go toward education, health care, and public safety. He estimates it will bring in millions of dollars without raising your taxes. Meanwhile, Kentucky college students are calling for another change. Students are gathering at the state capitol to protest budget cuts that would increase tuition for next year. The legislature is expected to cut tuition funding by 6%. Protesters say this increase will shut out too many people who want to go to college. If you could get a shot to prevent breast cancer, would you? That's the slogan for a new app aimed at preventing not breast cancer, but cervical cancer. The app is part of a movement urging women to get the HPV vaccine. Dr. Connie White says a woman dies every week from cervical cancer. To access the app and learn more about prevention, you can go to causethemovement.org. I'm Lindsey Yates. Thank you for watching UK Student News Network Update.